1991, my wife and I went to Africa and got married and did an internship. While we were on our internship, one of the things we wanted to do was see about going to a place where people had never heard the gospel before. So we picked a village and a people group called the Sonjo people, and we planned a trip, and we took off driving through the bush. Took about 6 hours driving way up into the mountains, and came to one of our churches that was close to the area where we thought that they were. And when we stopped and started talking to the pastor, he said, "Man, the Sonjo people don't live anywhere near here." He said, "But there is another people group, the Hatzabe." So although we were disappointed that we didn't get to go to the Sonjo, we thought, well, let's go check out what this other people group looks like. So we were driving along the top of the mountains trying to find a road down. We didn't really know where these people lived. We just knew that they lived down in a valley. We were probably 3,000 feet above the valley floor, and we found this little cattle track that went to the bottom of the valley, and so we put it in low range 4-wheel drive, and we crawled down to the bottom. We came to this little village called Yaida Chini. We stopped in the village and we said, "Hey, where do the Hatzabe people live?" And they said, "Oh, they live out there." And Africans often point with their chins. "Oh, they live out there." We said, "What do you mean they live out there?" They said, "Well, they live out in the bush. They come in and out when they want to the village to buy stuff, but by and large, they just live out there." And we said, "Well, how are we going to get there?" They said, "We have no idea." So we thought, here we go, another time we're defeated, and we were sitting there talking, wondering what to do. And all of a sudden, who should walk into town but a Hatzabe guy? And his name was Naphtali. So he agreed to take us to the Hatzabe village, and we drove across these plains and into this forest, no roads, going around big baobab trees. And I remember we broke into this village. I mean, the Hatzabe people live as poor and primitive as anybody I've ever seen in Africa. Never had cows, goats, never farmed. They lived in simple grass huts, used poison bows and arrows and to kill meat, and really they just lived off the land. We stayed down there with them for a couple of days, and when we drove out, what really grabbed my heart was not their poverty. What grabbed my heart was that in their area, there wasn't one church, one Bible, one Christian. There was no way for them to know the name Jesus. That was a moment where God just took Karen and my heart and transformed it with a burden, knowing that we've got to use our lives to reach people who have never heard the gospel. It's been 27 years since we did that trip. And I can't tell you how many villages I've driven through where people don't have an opportunity to know Jesus because no Christian has ever taken the gospel to them. Our greatest need in Africa right now is for people who are willing to come and live their lives so that others might know Jesus. To see churches planted where they're not planted, to have Jesus known where he's not known.